So here we have a short overview of feminism and religion in hopefully under 5 minutes. Feminism is a macro-structural conflict modern theory. Ultimately, the feminist view looks at how women are treated in society, and particularly in this case, we're looking at how religion treats women. The view of feminism argues that women can be oppressive and liberating for women, depending on the type of feminism and the type of religion. There are two key branches to feminism when it comes to religion. We have the liberal feminists, who argue that there is religious forms of feminism and that women can use religion to liberate themselves. And the radical feminists, which argue religion reinforces patriarchy and is a means of oppressing women further in society. There are four key areas. The first is religious teachings. Now, Armstrong argues that none of the major religions have been particularly good to women. They are usually male affairs. Women are often relegated to marginal positions. Walby follows this up by arguing that women's denial of power is also reflected in religious teachings, which encourage women to fulfill domestic roles as opposed to roles within the church. Woodhead, on the other hand, argues that religion for some women is actually liberating, it's freeing by being told to take on domestic roles. So, for example, within Orthodox Judaism and the work of Helas and Woodhead, women taking on the traditional housewife role, it removed conflict of modern life from their decision making. When it comes to hierarchies, Bruce has always argued that women tend to or continue to be excluded from key roles in many religions, despite the fact women often participate more in the organisation of religion than men. The hierarchy of the church is often, as I say, male-dominated, despite the increased female participation. Within Orthodox Judaism and Catholicism, women are still not allowed to become priests, despite women making up a majority of those engaging with practices. For Woodhead, this reflects a continuation of religious rejection of the women's liberation in society. However, taking it from a liberal feminist point of view, in 1992, the Church of England has permitted or did permit women to become priestesses or priests, and also in 2014, women were allowed to become bishops. So that is an element or an indication of religion becoming more egalitarian through allowing women to participate more. However, only 1 in 5 priests are female. It's also worth recognising that not all religions exclude women from the hierarchy. There are religions such as the Quakers, where men and women are treated equally and seen equally within those faiths. When it comes to religious images, Daly talks about how Christianity is an ideological force. It spreads the patriarchal myth. So we have God the Father, Jesus is a man, all the angels and apostles were men. Women are portrayed as either pure and asexual, like the Virgin Mary, or promiscuous and a whore, like Mary Magdalene. This is also a really good example in the story of Lilith within Judaism, and the idea that she was Adam's original wife and rejected Adam, wanted to be equal, and therefore was removed from the Garden of Eden for a more submissive wife. But also she then became the envisionment of male temptation and seduction. Women are often oppressed and subordinated through images within church. Again, a lot of the religious images portray women as polluting or corrupting or promiscuous. Holm identifies that women who are menstruating are often seen as polluting, so they're not allowed within religious premises or to touch religious items, as they're sort of seen as going to corrupt them. And Aldridge also notes that women's sexual pleasure, especially the sexual pleasure of women, is condemned, and sexuality is really reduced for reproduction purposes. This is also quite interesting in terms of some of the scripture views of the role of Eve. You know, she committed the original sin, and therefore that kind of relates to why women are punished through menstruation and childbirth even today. They're kind of, you're paying for Eve's original sin. And one of the other things in terms of liberal feminism that's worth noting is that, you know, a lot of religions are matriarchal or are led by female gods. So it does, in some cases, depend on the religion and how that religion would view or hold women to account. And lastly is oppression and deception. So de Beauvoir highlights that religion is used to control women and then often compensates women for their second-class status. Very similar to Marx's spiritual gin. And almost we're looking at like a spiritual rosé here, where religion is oppressing people, is a source of oppression, and inequality, but it also forms a cushion from that oppression. So in many religions, man is the master, the divine right of kings is really consistent. And again, historically, men have always had control over women. The dowry system is often where women have to give their husbands a dowry or their money or property at the time of marriage, which leaves them dependent and powerless. Religious teachings also tend to deceive women by creating this illusion that everyone is equal before God, regardless of gender, and it's a distraction from present injustice. So again, it's that tool of oppression, deception, creating a false image of society, and again, promising women equality in the afterlife. So again, here we have 4 areas of feminist research on religion and the role of women, and I've tried to break it down into, as you see here, what liberal feminists say and evidence of liberal feminists, as well as what the radical feminists put forward. Thanks for watching.